You know what time it is. It's Alex Lexus, the man, the myth, the juggernaut, doing fusion with Mr. Geeking Out on this impromptu podcast. And it's to address something pertaining to some folks' beloved software, hardware manufacturer, Sony. And, you know, this should be very interesting. So we have our 2 cents to add. So let's run this intro. We're gonna power up the reactor, turn the lights on. So created by Michael Burrow and make sure you check him out. What you got in your crib? Shout out to Mike. Alright, so with that being said, we're gonna go to familiar territory. You get to see my face. It's been a minute. Oh yeah. So let me bring Shinwar into the room. So intro has been done, but Shinwar, I know you're watching the Survivor Series kickoff show, so we won't hold you up for too long. And he got super kicked. Wow. Oh well, I guess Shinwar is not there at the moment. But let me
I'm
kind of.
here.
What? You didn't say anything. What?
Well, you didn't say nothing.
Yes, I did. I was like, I was doing the intro, and I'm like, "Hello, Shinwar," and you was just quiet.
All right. I didn't hear you. You didn't say anything.
Wow. All right, no comment, no comment. But with that being said, New Gaming Order. Obviously, you've seen other YouTubers putting it out there. There's kind of the rumblings as to what's going on with E3, and Shinwar and I actually had an interesting conversation as to the whole change in scope on how we're digesting media as a whole. But what in the effort of trying to keep this short, I won't go into the intricate details and theories that I had thought of. But as you can see, as reported by Kotaku and many other reputable sites, Sony is skipping E3 2019 for various reasons. I have my thoughts, but I wanted to give Shinwar the floor to kind of, segue us into this discussion. So, Shinwar, what are your thoughts as to why Sony isn't participating in E3 after 24 years of this thing, running strong? Decades, man. Like, why would they do this? How could they do this? Your thoughts?
I mean, I guess they don't have anything to present to the show, or maybe they're working on something and they realize that 2019 shouldn't be the place at E3 to do it. So maybe they might hold their own press conference, PlayStation experience to do that. I don't know.
Now, you see, I'm glad you mentioned PlayStation Experience. They even skipped their own event this year. So it's almost to the effect where it looked like, you see all these announcements Sony was making before. It's like they blew their tank. They blew all their gas, their nitrous, and they have nothing else to show. Like Death Stranding, that shouldn't have been announced when it was. I think that had they spaced everything out, gapped everything out, they would have had a steady stream of content to say, hey, this is what we got. But Sony completely gassed out here. That's one theory that I have. They truly have nothing to show. Then last year's E3 was like dismal. Like it wasn't even funny. Like you had Stone Fox Media and all these people clowning that event. It wasn't as bad as the Kaz Hirai thing, but it was just so lacking with like pop and you know what I mean. So I think Sony knew that, hey, you know what, a combination of, now they're on the cusp of the PlayStation 5. They don't have anything to show. Like, I mean, it's just, you know what, they already won this console generation in terms of sales. They feel that they don't have to put in anything extra than what they're already doing. And their loyal, devout sheep that follow them, they're like, oh, well, we don't need E3. Shout out to Champ Chung, his channel. Like, I know he's pro Sony, but one thing I will give him, he made a good point where E3 is like the Super Bowl of this whole, presentation, and a presence there is like, E3 was only recently made available to the public, and for Sony to pull out from that, like, it's just like, I think it was just a lot of, they played their chess, they're ahead of the game, and this is why I always said Sony is a company that needs to remain humbled, because you see, you're not getting a lot of effort from them. You know what I mean? Now, if they were on their heels, but believe me, they'd be swinging just like Microsoft. But I think that kind of takes away, like, yeah, Shinmar made a great point. They may have their own thing, but considering that they cut their own, PlayStation experience, like, I don't even have faith in that. I think the next time we'll see Sony talking about anything will be later in 2019 when they do unveil any sort of specs or code name for PlayStation 5 and what have you. What are your thoughts, Shin? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll give you the floor. What are your thoughts on what I said in terms of, Sony probably putting out way too much at one time, and now not having enough to even talk about now?
Yeah, I mean, it clearly shows that they ran out of gas. I mean, 2019 is next year. You mean to tell me you don't have anything to show? I mean, we know the rumored PS5 is coming, but still, it's like, okay, the PS4 still got gas in the tank. You got to show something. But I guess at this point, they don't have to do anything. No company really has to. They go to E3. It's like the biggest venue, and just put something out. At least hint to the PlayStation 5, and then in the PlayStation experience later on next year, show images of it. But yeah, they just pulled out completely.
Now, here's another thing too. Now, considering Sony's trying to go to the well like they did last time with last E3, where Microsoft went first and put out all their stuff, and then all Sony did was effectively counter them, right? Now, they have to remember they're dealing with a different company. This is a company now led by Phil Spencer, or the division led by Phil Spencer, right? So do you mean to tell me they think that, waiting to counter Microsoft is going to work? So they got to diversify their attack, their repertoire, their strategy, because, Dan Matrick is not the idiot that counterattack worked on, So Microsoft and Phil Spencer said it himself, and I quote, well, actually, I won't quote it. I'll paraphrase. When they're making their consoles, they're going to make sure that they have the most powerful console on the market. They will experience the full breadth of Microsoft's resources collectively. Microsoft has deep pockets. They have so much that they can throw into this. So maybe, thinking that Microsoft is going to jump first and say, hey, you know what? We're going to drop information on the Scarlet. I think that this is going to be a chess match, a waiting game, and something interesting should be happening, I believe, in the fall of 2019. But trying to counterattack, that worked one time before. I don't think Microsoft is going to get caught like that again. And look at what happened with the PlayStation 4 Pro. Nobody knew that was coming out. And then Microsoft's like, oh, really? No problem. A year later, the X comes out. And on every Digital Foundry benchmark, anything that you could look up, the X is 40-something% more powerful than that other console. So now it's just like, oh yeah, why rush to market to make some sort of announcements when the competition can do something better? Yeah, well, Sony's now in that corner, but it remains to be seen. But in conclusion, Shinwar, do you have anything to, wrap this up?
I mean, personally, this whole console war is it's been like this, but I think we're at a point where the consoles are more like getting close to PC. So it's just get what you want, play what you play, but it's really the the companies that are like, well, let's have this exclusive here. It all comes down to exclusivity. And what made PS4 win this, we all know they had the better exclusive. But Sony was struggling last generation when the Xbox 360 took on PlayStation 3. 360 was the bomb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to get past this. PS4, Xbox, play what you want to play, like what you want to like. Hopefully, the console that you have gets the games that you want, and if not, just get both consoles. And that's
all right. A good point that you mentioned. You know, now that we have on the advent of cross-play between PlayStation Network, Nintendo, and Sony. Now that's thing with certain types of console exclusives should not be, because now they can make one version of a game, or just make one server farm and then set it up where everybody has access. You know what I mean? But I will give in conclusion, my predictions are Microsoft isn't gonna talk about the Scarlet. They're gonna talk about the studios that they bought up. They're gonna talk about all the new IPs coming, and probably hint at what the Scarlet is. Probably won't give out specs or anything, because it's literally now down to who's gonna throw the first punch. But I mean, that's all I got. But make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to Thumb Thrasher Gaming. I know he hasn't been too active as of late, but he's working on another project called From My Experience, which I'm also a part of. Make sure you lend him your support. Make sure you check out the Microsoft Store in Bridgewater, New Jersey, 400 Commons Way. Make sure you look up Francis. Tell him Geeking-Out sent you in association with New Gaming Order. And Shinwar, did you want to make an announcement for the next event?
The next event should be December 15th.
Yes,
I believe. Let me just look at the calendar and confirm. Yes. The 15th, which is a Saturday, yes. That will be the next Dragon Ball tournament.
All right. And then hopefully we could possibly get like Soul Calibur in there or something. We're going to diversify the palette as we go further along. But I want to thank my brother Shinwar over here doing the hot tag. And make sure y'all check out SummerSlam. Oh, not SummerSlam.
Survivor Series. Wow.
You know what? It had to save, what was that? SummerSlam Survivor Series. Whoops. My bad. You know what? No comment. I was going to say something. But wow. I want to thank y'all for watching. The man, the myth, the juggernaut. We out. See y'all later. Peace.
Peace.